per carry weren't great, but we had 49 attempts. A lot of those were short yardage attempts where it's 3rd and 1. We get a yard. That's good enough, in that situation. Some of those runs down on the goal line. So your average is going to be a little bit lower. We knew it was going to be that type of game. We wanted to, we wanted to grind it out. We wanted to get in 3rd and short and convert. We were able to do that. Obviously, the first half set the tempo with going 9 for 12 on 3rd down. We didn't have a great start to start the game, and then we scored on 5 straight drives. So that was good, and we wanted to get a lead going at halftime. We did that. So I'm not, the yards per carry wasn't great, but as far as the run game, it was effective because we had a lot of them and we were able to stay on the field.
When you look down the road and being able to sustain, obviously 49 carries is kind of hard, but to sustain the run game success, do you look at this as like you have the tight ends are getting healthier, you have Cosme, you might get your starting line back, you have Robinson getting more into it. Do you feel like this is a group that is starting to ascend?
Yeah, I don't know. I think you said sustain, and that's tough. I mean, it's a week-to-week league. I mean, that's a pretty good defense that we did that against. So if we can do it against them, I mean, might as well. The biggest thing is just like I've told the guys, I love to run the ball. We got to convert 3rd downs in order to get those calls. So as long as we can continue to do that, when we're in those 3rd and shorts, we have a better opportunity to convert. Every game's different. 49. I think that's the most runs that I've ever had calling a game. Probably not going to get that many, but we've got 42 before. We've got that. We've gotten up to those numbers. If you're doing that, you're probably doing some good things. So, like I said, every game could play out differently, and I am happy we're getting some of those guys back. I just think a lot of our guys are getting better too. We got some young players that are getting more experience and they're getting more comfortable and confident, and they're getting better as the season goes on, which is what you want to see.
In terms of getting better, what did you see from Brian Robinson with that workload that he had?
Yeah, that was really cool. I didn't realize it was 26 carries until after the game. You're kind of in the middle of it. Like I said earlier, there wasn't anything flashy about it. Obviously, he got in the end zone. It was a hell of a run and effort. But just that, talked to those guys about being physical and setting the tone, and he really led the charge with that. So that was good to see. And I think, as he keeps running the ball the way he does, I think his vision will keep getting better and better, and you're going to see some bigger runs come out of that.
And the fact that of the 49 carries, I think only 1 went for negative yards, and I think Ron said it was like for -1. Robinson getting the most carries, is that kind of beyond the flashy stuff? That is sort of the secret to him, is the ability to just keep moving forward almost no matter what? Yeah,
I think so. I think, he really he'd had some lost yardage in previous games, and that's what we didn't want to get behind the sticks on those guys. They'd have a really good pass rush. Obviously, they had the sack fumble early, which is what we were trying to avoid. We got that out of the way, and then. No, but those are type of situations we didn't want them to be able to tee off on us, and that was our plan. And our players did an outstanding job of executing it. Everybody, obviously B-Rob was a big part of it.
There's several games now where Taylor's had an interception, had a sack fumble, something like that, and then bounced back right away. Do you just have a sense, is there some way he carries himself or something you can point to how he's able to flip that switch?
I think he has a short memory. I mean, he's a confident guy. He understands, like a lot of good players, that, you make a mistake, you move on. Don't let it affect you. And he does the same on, like, he has a big play positively, you move on to the next play. You never get too high, never get too low. The sack fumble's not on him. I mean, he's getting the ball out and he gets hit in the back. I mean, it's unfortunate. And then the interception, he's probably a little greedy, but I mean, they got it on the 7-yard. It was 3rd down, whatever. It's like a punt. So, you move on to the next play. Like I've said about him after the Vikings game, when obviously it was negative or anything that happens, he's going to walk that line, and I don't want him to lose his stinger, and you want him to be aggressive, and that's why everyone loves him, and we coach around the other stuff, and you want him to be a good decision maker, but I want him to play confident and loose, and that's what you're going to get from him sometimes.
Dovetails with that. I'm sure a lot of quarterbacks would love to have you're the starter, after a couple of big wins. Obviously, he hasn't gotten that. Carson's still coming back at some point, but it seems like he's taken that all pretty well in stride. Do you coach him up on that? Do you give him any advice, or is he is kind of wired that you don't have to worry about him too much?
No, I don't worry about that. I mean, Taylor's been through a lot in his career, so he doesn't really take much for granted. He's an ultimate team player, so he's ready to go whatever his role is. Obviously, he's a competitor and he wants to play. And he is. I mean, he's going to be starting, this week, and Coach will obviously make those decisions as we go down the road. But I don't worry about him with that stuff. He's good to go.
I have a question about when something happens kind of later in the season, like the last 4 or 6 games. When you're evaluating at the end of the year, do you have to be careful not to put too much stock into that, or like do you give less or more credence to kind of when things happen in evaluation?
Maybe be a little bit more specific.
So I guess like with Davis Mills, right? Like he played the last 6 games last year, came on strong.
I don't know. I mean, maybe. I mean, like it depends, who they're playing against. I mean, you're still playing an NFL game. I mean, you still got to go execute those plays. I think you got to kind of, take everything into account. Some games are a little different than others. What you want to see really though is just, it's hard with a small sample size, but you want to see sustained success and consistency when you're making any type of evaluation on any type of player. But I think you got to give credit to guys for what they do and just understand that, it's probably not the full picture.
What do you like about Terry when he's running a slant?
He's fast, he's physical. And somehow, some way, he's going to catch it, and it might get on his body, but he's going to find a way to get it done. He might get hit as soon as the ball gets on him, but, there's a high level of confidence that I have that he's going to end up with the ball at the end of it. That's a physical route where guys, a lot of times they try to sit inside or they play it, and with his speed, toughness, and competitiveness, he finds a way.
And you, of course, want to, be varied with his routes, but is it almost tempting to just call that over and over and just mash that button when it seems like it's so easy?
No, I mean, yes, I know. I mean, yeah, obviously Terry does a nice job on it, but you want to mix up stuff with the route. Obviously the slant, we ran, the go routes complement those. If you're going to just sit inside, you're going to get run by. You know what I mean? So Terry's obviously done a nice job with those over the course of the year. Caught a great one in the third quarter this past game. So Terry can do it all. Obviously he does a great job on the slants. That's a route we're going to continue to work to him with. It gets harder versus some coverages when other people get involved. You know what I mean? That's an easy route to double. But if you play him one-on-one, you're going to get a lot of different routes from Terry.
Since Taylor became the quarterback, you guys have done a pretty good job of getting in third and manageable, third and short, but you converted a lot more of them, obviously in the first half particularly. Why was that?
They were short. I mean, we had 6 third and ones. We converted 5 of them. I think we had a couple 3rd and 2s. We had a 4th and 1 that we got. 3rd and 3s. It goes to the run game, and it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't flashy, but getting that 3, 4. I felt like I was pretty stubborn with it. We wanted to get after those guys. I talked to the offensive line about, challenging them and the backs of saying, hey, set the tone and be physical in this game. And, I wanted to try to give them the opportunity to do that. And they did that. And then I said, when we get in those third downs, we got to convert, whether it's running or throwing. And we did a nice job running by. I mean, we ran one on 3rd and 4, when we were able to pick up a first down on our first scoring drive. So just being balanced, making the defense defend everything. And then we had a couple plays where guys got open.
Since Taylor, with Taylor, you guys have run the ball a lot more, and I know that was part of the game plan this week, but how do you balance being patient with the run, but also wanting to hit, explosive pass plays? Like, how much do you think about that?
Yeah, all the time. I mean, you always, we got good, talented players on the perimeter. You want to get them involved. The D lines that we play against week in, week out, everybody's got guys up there that can ruin the game, So you got to get them to. You got to have them do things they don't want to do, which is, set their pads and play the run, and that takes in effect. I mean, I just saw some stat that like Hargrave played 70 plays or something in the game because we had 81 of them, and I don't think they want their snap counts to be that high. So to keep those guys on the field and make them defend everything, that allows you to get a little more time. Now you can throw the ball and get some of those plays down the field.
I know you were without Jahan for a couple of weeks, but just overall, the depth of your receiving core and the varied skill set, have you noticed if defenses are playing you guys any differently because of those guys?
People pay attention to Terry. They had some coverage stuff where they were rolling to Terry a little bit more than they had shown. Rolling to individual receivers on tape. Other than that, no, we've had guys in and out of the lineup. I don't know. I mean, maybe we're getting a little bit more too high than other people because they don't want to give up the big plays. But that and enables us to run the ball kind of like we did as well. I wouldn't say, other than just maybe paying a little bit of special attention to Terry at times, there isn't anything that's glaring.
How much of the offense is really focused around that group? I mean, I know the emphasis obviously last week was on the run game, and that seems to be more of an emphasis league wide. But to have a group like that, what does that do for you as a play caller?
I think you feel good that everyone can make plays, and the ball. We design stuff for certain guys, but if it gets to second and third read, you still feel good that it's. The play is going to be made, and Diami had that unbelievable catch that set up the Joe's career long kick before the half. Jahan had the big catch that got us down inside the 5, and I think that was their only catches of the game. And you like to get those guys the ball more. Terry had 8 catches. I don't want to get him any less. And we ran the ball a lot. But just having guys that are going to make the plays when the ball comes their way. And earlier in the year, Jahan had a 2-touchdown game. I mean, it goes back and forth based on the different looks that you have, and that's where you feel good about it. And our group's so unselfish. Those guys are great. Terry's talked about just cheering for each other and how happy they are when another guy makes a play, and it's genuine. So. As long as we're being successful, we're scoring, and we're finding ways to win games, which we have, other than that Vikings game recently. I think everyone is enjoying themselves.
JP, last one. So, how much of that is specific week-to-week game planning versus like molding an identity for this team?
I think those things go a little bit hand in hand. Every week is going to create a different set of challenges based on personnel or scheme. So. What you see from a defense may affect, how you plan on attacking them. With all that being said, we know our strengths, and what we try to do as best as we can is match our strengths against the other team's weaknesses. And sometimes you just feel so good about your strength that you say, hey, let's see if they can stop it, even if they're good at stopping it. You know what I mean? But we try not to be that stubborn and hard-headed all the time. Most of the time, we're trying to – but, we're going to give our guys chances to make plays, and maybe it is something that defense does good, but you got to sometimes you got to find out if they can stop it.
Thank you, Coach.
So, thanks, guys.